My cousin Joey, he was older than me, way older than me. And he had a drum set in his house. Every time we went to his house, I would get on the drums and I'd bang on them. And then when it would inspire me to go home and bang on pots and pans. And then my parents would buy me toy drum sets. And I didn't even know how old I was, 5, 6, maybe 7. And that eventually led into them get me a drum set when I was 10 or 11, a real drum set that I could play. And that started it off. Hey, DAMM Music, this is Carmine Appice speaking from Vanilla Fudge, Rod Stewart, Jeff Beck, and all these other bands.
Carmine Appice is a legendary, award-winning rock drummer known for his work with Rod Stewart, Ozzy Osbourne, Pink Floyd, Brian May, Slash, and of course, Vanilla Fudge. Although Carmine has become a world-famous drumming master, his musical career had a humble beginning.
When I was maybe 11 or 12, when I got that drum set, I started playing. And I played, 6 to 7, 8 months. And I started, playing with friends. And they said, well, somebody came up with a show, a gig, where we'd play songs of the day at a dance. So I went there. I was probably 12, 13 years old, if that. And my father drove us there. And we actually played a gig. I made $7.50. And so that started me off playing gigs. Eventually, through my teens, I played gigs. At 17, I saved enough money to buy a brand new car. And when I graduated school, I actually majored in music in school. I took drum lessons before that. And I just wanted to be like my drum teacher and be able to make a living playing drums. And eventually that led into playing clubs and running into Vanilla Fudge when they were called the Pigeons. And then joining them, and we got a hit record like 9 months later.
Vanilla Fudge's music went on to inspire major bands such as Styx, Yes, and Led Zeppelin. But Carmine drew his inspiration from?
Well, mostly when I was growing up playing, it was mostly jazz artists like Gene Krupa, Buddy Rich, Max Roach, Joe Morello, Roy Haynes. I listened to Jimmy Smith. I listened to Art Blakey. So those were most of my influences, as well as Motown, Atlantic Records, Stax, all the R&B that was going on at the time in the early to mid 60s. So it was mostly a combination of rock and jazz.
Carmine's life has been far from ordinary. He has toured with Jimi Hendrix, Cream, and even had Led Zeppelin as an opening act. When asked what the most rewarding part of his career is, he said,
being able to play, and do what I love and not having to get up 9 o'clock in the morning or 7 in the morning and drive into the same gig every day. Being on the road, you never know how the audiences are going to be. And, it made my life a lot of fun and very interesting. And then when I co-wrote Do You Think I'm Sexy with Rod Stewart and it went to #1, that was probably one of the most rewarding times in my career, because I've never written a song that was so popular before that.
The most challenging thing for Carmine when it comes to the industry is?
Challenging probably today, because in the old days, you used to make a record, everybody got airplay, everybody toured together, everybody had fun touring. And then eventually it turned into more of a business than more fun. Back in the old days, it was more fun. So today it's just more challenging just to keep working in the realm that I'm in, because the realm that I'm in, the hard rock and rock, is not the most popular part of the music business today. I don't do pop with drum machines and all that stuff, and I don't do rap. So the business is more challenging now, because if you do a record, chances of you getting a lot of people to hear it are not as good as they were in the old days, where you just turn on your radio and you hear the music. Today, you got all the social media, and if you're not really just sitting around and watching your phone all the time and pulling up YouTubes and all that, you never really hear any music. I mean, example is that the girl that won 5 Grammys. I never heard of him. I don't listen to pop music on the radio.
Throughout Carmine's life, he has played with some of the biggest names in rock history, from Jimi Hendrix to Cream to King Cobra. When asked who he enjoyed working with the most, he said,
I don't know about the most. Everyone had something different. The most successful one was Rod Stewart, playing 6 nights at the Foring, having, you're going to do a record, sell 5 million copies, which I know he doesn't do anymore. But back in the 70s and early 80s, when I played with him, it was always, everything we did was 5 million copies at least. So that was an amazing experience. And obviously with Vanilla Fudge, it was a great experience because it was new. Everything was new. It turned me into, an unknown guy to a named musician. And then playing with guys like Jeff Beck and all that were, a whole other different story. So, and then in the 80s, King Cobra, Blue Murder, it was all different experiences, but they were all fun. They all had challenges and they were all fun.
Carmine has received a significant amount of awards throughout his career, including Lifetime Achievement Awards from Sabian Cymbals, Costa Drum Festival, and the Los Angeles Music Awards. In 2000, Modern Drummer presented him with its Editor's Achievement Award, and in 2011, he received the Drum Icon Award from Vegas Rock Awards. These are just some of the many, many awards he has been presented, but the awards that touched Carmine the most were...
I don't know. I guess maybe the Rock Walk of Fame on Sunset Boulevard. That and the Modern Drummer Hall of Fame, I think, were the most rewarding to me because they were mostly, it was just my awards, not the band awards. Like Vanilla Fudge got the Long Island Music Hall of Fame. But most of the awards I received were those two that I think were the most touching for me.
When asked if he could collaborate with anyone in the industry, he said,
pretty much everyone I admired, I've done something with, I like Government Mule. Every December 30th, I play with them at the Beacon Theater. I go in and jam 1 or 2 songs with them. I play with Joe Bonamassa. He would be one, I'd say, but I already played with him. So it's not a lot of, maybe playing with the actual Led Zeppelin. Again, I jammed with them. Actually playing the gigs with them would have been fun.
The life of a rock star like Carmine is obviously full of excitement. But Carmine's favorite memory from his career is?
How about just the Ed Sullivan Show? With Vanilla Fudge the first time was a pretty amazing memory. Those were the days when the whole family would sit around and watch that show. And when you're on that show, you made it. So that's probably one great memory right there.
One of Vanilla Fudge's most popular songs, You Keep Me Hanging On, was recently placed in the award-winning motion picture Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, directed by the great Quentin Tarantino. Vanilla Fudge had a unique process when it came to remixing songs like this one.
Yeah, well, when we put this arrangement together, everything we did in those days were like, we try and look at the lyrics, like you just said, Eleanor Rigby. When Eleanor Rigby came out, it was a really nice classical piece, but we took the lyrics and made it match the lyrics with the music. It was very eerie, very spooky, right? Talking about cemeteries and churches and lonely people. So it was a very spooky kind of experience that we set up in the song. And You Keep Me Hanging On, you listen to the original by the Supremes, it was a very happy groove and a very happy sounding song, but the lyrics were anything but happy. So we tried to match the music with the lyrics. And that's how we came up with that thing and added the drama that the lyrics were, talking about. So when I moved from New York and LA, I got a house that has a studio in it. And I've been working in there. I've recorded a couple of solo albums with Fernando Perdomo. We did that. We did a Cactus album that hit the Billboard charts at number 3 on the blues charts. It was a blues album. I had Ted Nugent on it. I had Joe Bonamassa on it, Warren Haynes on it, Billy Sheehan. And it's great. So now we are doing a second follow-up to that, Temple of Blues 2, which has the same kind of stuff on it. We have Eric Gales. We have Ted Nugent. We have Billy Sheehan, we have Pat Travis, and a load of other people.
Carmine Appice is a one-of-a-kind drummer whose music continues to inspire musicians around the world. His progressively classic sound is a great addition to our library, and we are excited to have him on our team.
The only advice I could say is playing an instrument or singing, try and master your instrument, master your singing. And then the rest is, I don't really know. It's how well you know social media, how good a songwriter you are. You know, it's difficult today. I think you sign with DA Music and get them to place your song somewhere.
This has been our Damn Good podcast. Thank you for tuning in. All music played in this episode are songs by the artists themselves. You can check out their music on our artist page at damusiclibrary.com. DA Music is clearance free, and we are always here for your project and production needs. Check us out at damusiclibrary.com.